Welcome to Protea Weekly. My name is Zane Stevens, and it's the first week of February. So congratulations for surviving January. I know for the accounting world, it can be a pretty tough month. My team worked really hard making sure that we're able to help our clients get their year ends done, start working on their tax accounts, get those crummy 1099s at the door. So congrats to my team and congrats to all accountants out there. But as we're heading into February, I'm on the road again, out in a hotel room, so you can see that in the background. I'm in Portland, Oregon, and I'll be attending the Oregon Wine Symposium. But as I was flying up here from Santa Rosa, I was finishing a book that I was reading called Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink, and it got me thinking. It got me thinking a lot about leadership in general, but really taking a deep dive into this book, which honestly is not sort of my normal cup of tea. I don't really understand the whole military world. Growing up in South Africa, we didn't really have one. There was no sort of strong desire to serve, any of that came with it. But, Jocko is a smart guy, super successful business person, and not everybody becomes a Navy SEAL. So I was intrigued. I gave it a listen, and between all the military stuff and between it, the lessons are really, really good. And I'm surprised I'm going to be saying this, but it is a book I really recommend anybody. Actually, scrap that. It's a book I recommend everybody reads because I think there's great lessons for life in that book. Now, I think all leaders, be that people running their own business, managers within organizations, people that are managing people or leading people, give this book a read because there are a lot of key topics and I wanted to quickly go through them with you. And I say quickly, I know I tend to talk a little bit longer, but I finished reading the book, tons of thoughts going through my brain. A lot of it, especially just like me generally thinking, there's a lot of things that I can do better as a leader. And at the same time, making me sort of redraw the picture of what the org chart I am looking for at Protea will look like for long-term success. We're a month away from celebrating 12 years in business, but I'm constantly thinking about what's next. How do we adjust? How do we change? How do we set ourselves up for the best success possible? And this book has really brought me some great ideas because it gives you some final ideas on sort of what is leadership versus what is extreme leadership. When I checked into ChatGPT before I got you, like, hey, give me the main themes in this book. And I wanted to have them on hand so I could talk about this book because I really did enjoy it. And it was interesting. It gave me this table at the end, which was called the final leadership shift. It was the old model versus the extreme ownership model. And the old model, they talk about blame. And the extreme ownership, they talk about responsibility. In the old model, they talk about control. New extreme responsibility, trust. Old model, complexity. Extreme model, simplicity. Old model, ego. Extreme model, humility. Old model, reaction. Extreme ownership, discipline. Old model, silos. Extreme ownership, team first. And I like the idea of what the description of extreme ownership is. It's you taking responsibility. It's building trust within your team. It's keeping things simple, having humility, finding discipline, and always putting your team first. These are great key words that I think we can all gather and put our own meaning towards it and just build a better version of ourselves. So as I'm sitting here, let's go through some of the key themes. Let's start with extreme ownership. Everything is your responsibility. No excuses, no blaming the team, the market, or circumstances. This is, I think, one of the hardest things for people to do. When something goes wrong, you need to start with the question, what did I do or fail to do that caused this to go wrong? You're looking inward. How could I be better? What could have I done to make this go the right way? You're trying to go from a situation that didn't go perfectly and not getting to the blame game and highlight everything everybody else did wrong, but rather look at it and go, where could I have been better? How can I show that I should have done this and things might have gone a little bit better? It's about learning from our mistakes, owning up to our mistakes, sharing it with our team, and building a plan to be better in the future. It's a huge shift for all of us because it's always easy to blame. I've got too much work. The deadline wasn't reasonable. My computer didn't work. I ran out of battery. Hundreds of excuses that can pop up on why it is. I was having an off day. Instead of just sitting back and going, this failed, why? and why did it fail and how could it be better and make sure it doesn't happen again in the future. Tough concept. And this is the whole crux of it. It's taking ownership for the situation, looking at situations where a team has failed and thinking, how can I do better? It's creating this mindset of how do we improve, how do we improve, how do we improve? We talk about it, we share it, and then we fix it. The other interesting concept in this one, which is, really, really, really tough for people to get into their heads, that there's no bad teams, only bad leaders. And this is where you really need to check your ego, because it's so quick to say, my team's not strong enough, they don't have the right skills, they're brand new, yada, 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 yada. Instead of going, hey, I could have set them up for success. I can't blame them. I need to lead them to give them the best chance for success. This could be changing your strategy, a structure, expectation, deadlines, having additional calls, more coaching. It is up to you as the leader, be that of your small little pod team of a massive company. If something goes wrong, it ultimately is your fault as the leader. If your team are struggling, you probably need to do better or potentially step aside. They talk about standards slipping, and the only reason that occurs is because leadership allowed it. And that hit home for me. I saw the standards of Protea plateauing, and I realized that's because I allowed it to plateau. Instead of getting better every day, I said this is acceptable behavior, and we had to make a change. We had to reinforce accountability. We had to remind people that we were accountable to ourselves, to others, our team, and our clients. And it wasn't acceptable to just be good enough. We had to strive to be the best version of ourselves. That's the way we add value to our clients and we continue to grow. I think number 3 in terms of lessons from this book is believe in the mission. And obviously as a business owner, I believe in our mission, but it's important to me and our company's success that the leaders within our business agree with our mission. When they do that, it'll be a lot easier to execute. It's always easier for people to execute when they understand the why. The why gives them inspiration to work towards goals. The 4th topic in this book is check the ego. And, this is an interesting one because I think at times people think I have a big ego. And I do have a lot of confidence, and at times I know it can come the wrong way. But honestly, as the book points out, ego kills learning, it kills trust, and it kills speed. And I might be a little bit overconfident, maybe arrogant at the best times, but I don't have an ego. I understand that I need to learn and continue to learn if I want to get better, and at a very minimum, stay where I'm at in my terms of my current level. Reading books like Extreme Ownership, which is outside of my norm, is me checking my ego and realizing there's people from worlds that I will probably never understand that I can learn a lot from it. So I try to listen to feedback as much as possible, take that feedback in, make adjustments. I have to always try not to come across as defensive, because I can be snippy at times. I can be a little short. I operate on the direct side, the red, when you look at the personality types. Honestly, what I'm trying to do is learn, and I try and reward truth. And I think that is critical for leaders. You want to hear the truth because you can hear the truth, digest the truth, take action on the truth. And there's no point to having a team that's not willing to come and talk to you. And I think that is a great lesson for everybody. Check your ego, listen to people, don't be defensive, make adjustments, learn, and that's how we drive the business forward. They then talk about the concept of cover and move. A true military type word where you cover, check it out, move to the next point while somebody else is covering you. And it's such a great metaphor for life and teams specifically. They talk about the example where no department wins alone. We all have to operate as a team to be successful. And that's great for us, right? We have an office in South Africa, have in the US. And if we operate those two in their own little silos, things will never work. What's critically important for us is that they integrate together and work together to be successful. It is important that we look at our overall success, not our individual success. We have to do our best to solve conflicts, realign ourselves around our goals and objectives, and work together for the ultimate prize, whatever that prize is. We have to understand that everybody plays a critical role in the success of the operation. And that means we all have to work together and we have to cover and move. We have to cover each other, protect each other's back, be there for one another. Teamwork is about being there for each other and understand that we're stronger together. A true team is that definition of 1 + 1 = 3. And it's important that we work together. I love number 6 because it's so intertwined with who I am as an accountant. And they talk about simple, clear, repeatable plans. SOPs, right? Implemented processes that are easy to follow, that under pressure we can repeat over and over again. Your SOPs, your plans of actions should be simple enough that a new team member could come in, get the briefing, read the documentation, and keep moving. Simple, clear plans make things very simple. Obviously, becoming from a military standpoint, they talk about redundancies and talking about, as much communication as possible. It's critical that whatever the plan is that the people who need to execute understand their role, what the mission is, or what they're trying to achieve, and why we're doing it. This is a situation where we have plans, we got to give them to people to review. We should have conversations, check understanding, and then review the work when it's been done as well to make sure that everybody understands what's going on. And then rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. Clear, simple, easy to execute. And that is so critical. I like to drop this back to when I'm coaching, youth soccer. I tell them very simple plans. This is the structure we're going to play. This is where I want you to attack. This is what I want you to do. This is your role in the team. This is your key responsibility. This is your secondary responsibility. Very clear instructions, simple instructions, nothing too complicated. And for my case, you're playing goalkeeper, goalkeeper, catch and hold the ball and pass the ball out to the first defender so he can clear the ball. Defender, your goal is to clear the ball to the sidelines. Make the tackle, kick to the sidelines. Make the tackle, kick to the sidelines. Wingers, your goal is get the ball, push up to the side, get the crosses in. Very simple, very clear, not overly complicated. And when these roles work from kindergarten through to high school, it is very clear and simple. Number 7, in terms of the bulk, they talk about prioritize and execute. Everything feels urgent. Nothing gets done. And this is something I'm talking about a lot in January. And I think we lose focus when we forget that not everything in life is a priority. And it takes some time and some skill to be able to look at a to-do list and understand what is critical and a priority. As an accountant, I have to look at my priorities as what needs to happen today to allow this business to continue to operate. Generally speaking, quick things that pop on that list is anything compliance related, so sales tax, federal taxes, those things need to happen. Payroll needs to be paid because unhappy people walk out the door and you can't really be in business, or if there's any type of audit. Those generally top the list of priorities and everything else comes secondary. Have a cash flow problem? Then the cash flow forecast is probably a priority. Capturing AP? Yeah, probably not a priority. Can probably wait till next time. We know what we have to pay if we're shorting cash anyway. Not a big idea. Being able to sit down and look at your due list and identify the single highest impact problem that you have to solve is so important. Because you can prioritize it, put your time into it, and then make alternative plans for the rest of the work. It is so easy for leaders, people in general, to go to what is the easy step, what can I quickly tick off, rather than sitting down and going, hey, this is critical to the success of my team, of my business. I really need to focus and work on this right now. Because if I don't do it, we're going to stop growing, or worse, we're going to go out of business. We have to learn to understand what my role is, what my priority is, and then focus and execute. This is huge. Because if everybody is working on their priority, we are moving forward. And that's a good thing for all businesses. So leaders You need to set the example to show people how to prioritize, teach people how to manage their calendar, show that you have discipline and are working on the priorities that you should be working on. This will set you up for long-term success. An interesting breakdown in this is decentralized command. And this is a situation where, you know, best way to empower your teams is to give them the ability to make decisions. You want to be able to train people to think and not wait. You want to give them ownership of an area of the business, not instructions. And you do this by setting clear intent and then trust their execution. Control slows things down, trust allows you to scale. And when you're thinking about leadership, remember as your team grows, you can't be there from everybody. I have a 40-person team. I cannot be the go-to person for everybody. I have to be there for a smaller subset of people that I can give my full focus and give them instructions on how they execute. I give my account managers a lot of flexibility within our systems to be able to make decisions and execute on the work, be able to get projects done. This is important, but it comes with trust, clear instructions, and a clear idea of what the mission and the vision of the business is. Lastly, discipline equals freedom. Consistency beats motivation. The last year and a half, let's call it 14 months, I've been on, I need to be healthy, I want to live a long time. And I've realized that as long as I do a little bit every day, I continue to see progress. Set standards for myself, and then I enforce them by having an app which monitors me and gives me feedback on how I do. This is the same for your business. You need to set your standards and enforce them. That's how you hold your teams accountable. You need to build routines as much as you possibly can. This is when we meet. This is the deadline. These are all the things that we have to do. And then make sure that people are following through on them. The more disciplined we are, the more opportunity we have for high performance and creativity. If you can find discipline in your life, then bring that discipline to your team. It'll create a disciplined team that will execute more consistently and with a higher quality on a more regular basis. Honestly, my explanation of extreme ownership is probably not doing the book justice. And I really do recommend you all go look at it. But I am continuously absorbing ways to be a better leader. And I truly think that this book is going to help me improve over time. I'm going to constantly think about taking responsibility for my actions and the actions of my team. I'm going to continue to build trust as much as I possibly can. I'm going to simplify instructions so that it's very clear on what everybody needs to do. I'm going to show humility as much as I possibly can. I'm continue to be disciplined. And as always, we're going to put the team first. Our team is the most important part of our business. More important than our clients, more important than the financial numbers. Because when you look after your team, everything else becomes easy. Remember, your team's results are your leadership report card. If your team is not doing well, that is on you. Own their performance, improve them, show them that they can be the best version of themselves. And that is how we lead with extreme ownership. I hope you all have a good week. All the best for February. I'll talk to you next week.